Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Chapter 1. The Birth of Snow White and the Evil Queen, long ago. In a kingdom far away, a kind and beautiful queen wished for a child with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. Her wish was granted, and she gave birth to a daughter named Snow White. Sadly, the queen died shortly after. The king remarried a new queen who was incredibly beautiful, but also vain and wicked. The evil queen possessed a magic mirror, to which she would ask, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror always replied that she was the fairest, until the day it proclaimed that Snow White, who had grown into a lovely young woman, was the fairest. Chapter 2. The forest and the huntsman, enraged by the mirror's answer. The evil queen ordered a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest, kill her, and bring back her heart as proof. The huntsman, however, found himself unable to harm the innocent princess. He begged her to run far away and never return. Instead of Snow White's heart, he brought back the heart of a young wild boar to the queen. Frightened and alone, Snow White wandered deep into the forest, where she was befriended by the forest animals. Chapter 3. The Discovery of a Tiny Cottage. After much wandering, Snow White stumbled upon a tiny cottage. Inside, everything was incredibly small and a bit messy. The cottage belonged to 7 dwarves who worked in a nearby mine. Snow White cleaned the cottage and prepared a meal. When the dwarves returned, they were surprised to find their home clean and a beautiful girl sleeping inside. They listened to her story and, feeling sorry for her, invited her to stay with them in exchange for keeping their home tidy. Snow White happily agreed. For the evil queen's attempts back at the castle, the evil queen's magic mirror revealed that Snow White was still alive. The queen, furious, disguised herself and tried to kill Snow White 3 times. First, she dressed as a peddler and tried to strangle her with a tight lace corset. The dwarves found Snow White just in time and loosened the lace. Next, she disguised herself as a comb seller and gave Snow White a poisoned comb, which the dwarves again removed. Finally, the queen created a poisoned apple, with one half red and beautiful, and the other half green and deadly. She disguised herself as an old peasant woman and offered Snow White the beautiful half of the apple. Chapter 5. The Glass Coffin and the Prince. Snow White, trusting the old woman, took a bite of the red half of the apple and immediately fell into a deep sleep, appearing as though she was dead. The dwarves, unable to revive her, built a glass coffin so she could be seen and mourned. They watched over her for many years. One day, a handsome prince was riding through the forest and saw the beautiful princess in her coffin. He was so taken by her beauty that he convinced the dwarves to let him take the coffin. As the dwarves were carrying the coffin, they stumbled, and the jolt dislodged the piece of poisoned apple from Snow White's throat. She awoke from her long sleep. The prince, overjoyed, asked for her hand in marriage. Chapter 6. A happy ending. Snow White and the prince were married, and they lived happily ever after. The evil queen, consumed by her own evil, met her end, and the kingdom was finally free from her wickedness. Let's learn some quick lessons from Snow White. 1. Be kind. Snow White was always kind, so people helped her. Always be kind, and good things will come back to you. 2. Don't trust strangers. Remember Snow White. She did, and it nearly cost her life. Always keep your guard up and never take anything from someone you don't know, especially without a parent around. 3. Work hard. Just like Snow White, hard work leads to a safe, happy home and a joyful life. It really pays off, you know. Thanks for listening. If you find the story interesting, please subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive more of our interesting stories.